I was packing boxes for a move I thought would change my life when everything fell apart in a single afternoon. I was supposed to move in with my first serious boyfriend, Josh, the man I thought I would probably marry. I was deeply, embarrassingly in love with him. We had plans, real plans, the kind you only make when you believe someone is your future. And then one of my closest friends sat me down and told me something that made my stomach drop through the floor. She said Josh had shown a nude photo of me on his phone while he was drunk at a party. Not just shown it, but passed it around. She said he had talked about our sex life in graphic detail while people laughed. I remember staring at her, waiting for her to tell me it was a joke, a misunderstanding, anything. But then another friend confirmed it. And then another. 5 or 6 women I had trusted for years told me the same story, independently, with the same details. They said they felt sick about it. They said they were protecting me. They said I deserved to know who I was really dating. None of it felt real because it didn't match the man I knew. Josh was not cruel. He wasn't a show-off. He was private to the point of being almost shy about intimacy. When I confronted him, I expected confusion, maybe a guilty silence, maybe an explanation I wouldn't want to hear. Instead, he looked like someone had punched him. He denied everything immediately. He swore he had never shown anyone that photo, never talked about me like that, never betrayed me. When I told him who had said it, his confusion turned into anger. He called them liars. He said they were making it up. He said he didn't understand why they would do something so disgusting. At first, I thought his anger was defensive, the kind people get when they're caught. But it didn't stop. It escalated. A few days later, he showed up at my apartment unannounced. Some of my friends were there with me because they didn't want me alone. The moment Josh walked in, everything exploded. Voices were raised. Accusations flew. My friends called him a liar to his face. He shouted back that they were trying to destroy his life. At one point, he was shaking so badly I thought he might break something. He cried. He begged me to believe him. He punched the wall as he left, not in anger at me, but in pure desperation. I had never seen him like that. It scared me. It also confused me because part of me still believed him, and part of me felt completely violated by what I had been told. Josh had taken that photo of me. I knew that. I had agreed to it. I felt stupid for that, humiliated by my own trust. But 6 people were telling me the same story. 6 people I had known since high school. People who had been with me through breakups, family problems, bad years. Josh was one person. I chose to believe the majority. I broke up with him. It was one of the most painful things I have ever done. He collapsed when I told him. He begged. He cried. He asked me how I could think he would do something like that. I told him I didn't know what to think anymore. When he finally left, I felt hollow, like I had amputated something essential just to survive. For months, I was a mess. I replayed everything over and over, wondering if I had missed signs, if I had been naive, if love had made me blind. I leaned heavily on my friends, the same friends who had warned me. They told me I had done the right thing. They said I was strong. They said Josh was dangerous and manipulative, and I had escaped something terrible. Eventually, one of those friends, Alex, started spending more time with me. He had been one of the loudest voices telling me what Josh had done. Everyone kept telling me how supportive he was, how much he cared about me, how maybe I should give him a chance when I was ready. I did. We dated for a few months. It never felt right. Something was always off. But I told myself that healing was messy and maybe love just felt different now. Then, almost a year later, my entire reality collapsed again. A friend from that same group messaged me out of nowhere. She said she needed to talk. She said she couldn't live with it anymore. She said the story about Josh wasn't true. At first, I thought she meant part of it, maybe some exaggeration, maybe a misunderstanding. Then she said the words that made my hands start shaking. She said they had lied. All of them. She said they had made it up because they hated Josh. They thought he was a bad influence. They didn't think he was good enough for me. And they wanted me to date Alex instead. It was planned, coordinated, rehearsed. A group decision that they justified to themselves as protecting me. I confronted the others one by one. Some denied it until they couldn't anymore. Some cried. Some said they thought it was for the best. Alex admitted it. He admitted knowing the truth the entire time. He admitted encouraging it. He admitted dating me knowing my relationship had been destroyed by a lie he helped sustain. I remember sitting in a bathroom stall at work, shaking so badly I could barely breathe, crying silently for 2 hours because the pain was too big to make noise. I had lost the man I loved because I trusted the people I had grown up with. I had destroyed my own future with my own hands, guided by people who thought they knew better than me. I didn't just lose Josh. I lost my entire social world. These were the people I had assumed would be in my life forever. And now I couldn't even look at them without feeling sick. Every memory felt poisoned. Every conversation replayed itself in a new light. I kept thinking about Josh, about the way he had begged me, about how alone he must have felt watching everyone believe the worst version of him while I walked away. The guilt was unbearable. I knew I had to do something, even if it changed nothing. After days of barely sleeping, I wrote him an email. I didn't call. I didn't text. I didn't want to ambush him. I told him the truth. I apologized without excuses. I told him I was sorry for not trusting him, for letting other people decide our fate, for the pain I had caused. I told him I understood if he never wanted to speak to me again. I told him I missed him, not just in a vague way, but in the small, specific ways that hurt the most. The way he used to steal fries off my plate. The stupid arguments we had about money. The mornings I cooked him breakfast. The nights we rewatched The Office like it was a ritual. I told him I didn't expect forgiveness. I just couldn't live the rest of my life without saying I was sorry. Sending that email felt like ripping open an old wound and letting it bleed. But it also felt honest. For the first time in a year, I wasn't pretending. The next morning, I was sitting on my couch watching old movies, trying to distract myself when someone knocked on my door. I assumed it was a delivery and ignored it. A few minutes later, I looked through the peephole. It was Josh. My heart stopped. My apartment was a disaster. I was in a robe. My hair was a mess. None of it mattered. I opened the door, told him I needed a minute, and ran around shoving things into corners like that would somehow make this less surreal. When I came back, he smiled and said he was there for that drink I had offered in the email. I had orange juice and water. He stayed anyway. We didn't rehash everything. He didn't want to. He said we both knew the truth now. We talked like we used to, carefully at first, then easily. He asked if I was hungry. I said yes, even though I wasn't. We went to the same burger place we used to love. It felt like stepping into a memory I thought I had lost forever. When we came back, he asked what I was doing for the rest of the day. I told him I had no plans. We spent the night together. It was fast. It was imperfect. It was real. We spent Sunday together too. And Tuesday. And Wednesday. Eventually, we talked about what we were doing. We agreed we were two single people seeing each other again. Then we agreed to be exclusive. I trust him completely now in a way I never could have if he had actually done what I was told. The irony of that still makes my head spin. We're together again. I don't know what the future holds. I only know that today is better than yesterday, and yesterday was better than last year. Sometimes the people you think are protecting you are the ones doing the most damage. Sometimes love survives things it shouldn't have had to endure. And sometimes, the hardest apology you ever make is the one that saves you. Getting back together didn't magically erase what had happened. That was something we both understood almost immediately. There was a strange quietness between us at first, not awkward, but careful, like we were handling something fragile that had already been broken once. We talked more than we ever had before. About the breakup. About that night at my apartment when everything exploded. About how alone he felt afterward. Josh told me there were days he genuinely thought he was losing his mind because everyone around him seemed to agree on a version of events that never happened. He said the worst part wasn't even losing me. It was realizing how easily a lie could replace the truth if enough people repeated it. I told him about the months after the breakup, about how I had forced myself to move on because everyone around me insisted that I had escaped something horrible. I told him how much it messed with my head to grieve someone who was still alive, but suddenly untouchable. I told him about dating Alex and how wrong it had felt, even when I couldn't explain why. Saying it all out loud was painful, but it was also grounding. We weren't pretending this was a fairy tale reunion. We were two people trying to understand how something so important had been taken from us so easily. The hardest conversation was about trust. Not because I didn't trust Josh, but because I didn't trust myself. I had believed a lie because I was scared of the truth. I had chosen safety over faith. Josh listened without interrupting. When I finished, he said something that stayed with me. He said trust isn't about never doubting. It's about who you choose to believe when doubt shows up. He said he didn't blame me for being hurt. He blamed the people who decided they had the right to rewrite our lives without our consent. I cut off almost everyone from that friend group. Not in a dramatic way. No confrontations. No speeches. I just stopped responding. I stopped showing up. I realized that people who can justify destroying someone else's life for what they believe is a good reason are not safe